What difference does having a diagnosis make?
What do you think?
I think sometimes on an emotional level it's quite nice to know why your child is behaving the way they do, or displaying the behaviour that they do, or why they say the things the way they do, and it's nice to have a reason sometimes. Also, accessing support as well. When you have, we don't want labels, but when you have a label, you can access people like yourself,
Yeah,
and yourself, life links, and
lots of other different services.
yeah.
And often it's a shame that, like for schools or for other people, they need to look at the person and who's in front of them, and work with what's there. But a lot of people do want a label or a diagnosis to be able to go forward. And I think a lot of families that I see, like you say, they want that diagnosis so that then they know why. Why is my child the way they are? Let's get them some support. So.
Oh, absolutely.
What I've seen in a lot of families is that a diagnosis gives them some validation about what they have seen. Because a lot of the time, particularly by the time they might decide to come private, a lot of families have spent a lot of time trying to tell people that they're worried about their child and their development. And so having a diagnosis often validates that, yes, they have seen some differences in their child, and yes, we can support them with that. And that in itself reduces stress on the family as well as for the child who's,
And I agree with that. I see children from 0 to 19. So the children that I'm able to talk to, they suddenly realise, oh, there isn't something wrong with me. I've got autism. This is the reason why I'm like I am. And I think, that's validation for them, and they're not feeling that they are wrong, and, there is a reason.
Yeah, and having that name to put to their identity is really powerful for a lot of people.
Some don't want it, and don't like it, but then there are others who do, and then it's really a positive way of looking at it.
And I think there's, it's something we could have an enormous philosophical discussion about, and some families and people themselves rightly point out that why should a label or diagnosis be necessary on me, for instance.
Exactly.
I think that you guys have really brought up all of the things of discussion about some of the reasons why you would have a diagnosis, is that sometimes it provides a framework, it provides a place to start, often for a class teacher, for a parent around putting support in place, and I think for young people themselves, it often gives an understanding of their own identity, and I think it can be useful that way too.
A lot of families don't like the autism spectrum disorder. They don't like that disorder. And when I'm talking to families, will often say, for me, it's a difference. It's a different way of thinking. Like you said, Catherine, it gives us support, and it's a way with a disorder to be able to get support from the community, from Ministry of Health, Ministry of Education, wherever, because you're using that disorder word, that disability word, but actually it's not a disability or a disorder. It's a difference. It's a different way of thinking. And there's nothing wrong with it. We're all different.
That's how I explain it to my child. Why do I think this way? Why aren't I normal? And that's quite sort of far-reaching into my heart as a mother. But I do tell him, I said it's not bad or wrong, it's just different.
And he's normal for him.
Yeah.
He's his normal.
Yeah.
That's perfectly all right.
Yeah.
So there's a lovely book that I've often recommend to families called Just Right for You. And it talks about the fact that you might flap, but you might have different ways of thinking, but those ways are just right for you. And it's a book by Melanie Hayworth, I think. So it's a really good book for families to look at.
And when we look at autism from a social disability model, we're really looking at autism isn't a disability because the person is disabled, but autism can be a disability because society doesn't understand them and society isn't set up to support them. So people can be disabled because of the way that the world is actually set up, particularly schools for a lot of young people. Creates a lot of stress and a lot of difficulties. So we're now looking at support models in terms of what can we do to make environments better for everybody, and better supportive of the autistic brain style, and the differences that people experience.